My name is Doris Westbrook, and if you know anything at all about me, you know that I'm a dyed-in-the-wool Georgia Tech fan. See, I've got on my jacket. I have lived all my life in the Atlanta area. I've never found any place I liked any better, and that's been 94 years, so I've lived here a long time. I lived and grew up during the Depression, so you know that there was a lot of protection in my life. And the things that we did resolved and were all around being with the family. My mother's family was very close, and so a lot of the things involved them. I think one of the saddest days in my life was when I had to pay 10 cents for a Coca-Cola. I'd always paid just 5. And living in Atlanta where Coca-Cola was manufactured, I had to pay a dime, and I felt like they were cheating me. When I moved to Roswell, I was married. I had 2 sons, and my parents lived here, and so did my husband's parents. My husband did not go to church, but the 2 boys and I went every Sunday. I sat with my parents. The boys went to the youth program, and then we got back together, of course, after church was over. It was one of those things that I expected to do. There wasn't any doubt but what I would go to church every Sunday morning. As time passed, my husband and I had problems in our marriage, and I went back to school to get my teacher's certificate renewed. We divorced, and after that, I continued my education at Georgia State University, working toward a degree in educational psychology. I applied for and was hired at DeKalb Community College at a position in the admissions office. One of the things that I had as my responsibility was to counsel with incoming students. This activity, strangely enough, helped me to answer a question that I had been asking God for many years. Why did we have so many problems in our marriage? Because we both worked at it. But when I counseled with some of the students that were coming in as incoming students, I realized that it helped me to counsel with them and help them much better than it did if I had never experienced it myself, because I had been there. As time went on, my oldest son married and was in the service. Fortunately, both of my boys were stationed in Germany, so we didn't have to worry about them being shot at. The youngest one thoroughly enjoyed driving on the Autobahn because there wasn't any speed limit. He also ended up in Germany, but it was after he had finished his college education. As I had their responsibility given to them, they took care of themselves. I had more time to concentrate on my own life. I started being more active in the church. RUMC has a lot of opportunities for people to participate either in classes, in teaching, in going to church, or being a volunteer, because we have many, many opportunities for volunteering. I ended up taking a course in finance from Dave Ramsey. Didn't know what I was getting into because I had never really thought a great deal about tithing. I figured that was in the Old Testament and I didn't have to worry about it. But did I have my eyes opened? It became very apparent that God had given me everything I had, my life, my finances, my health, my 2 boys, everything I had come from God. And it didn't belong to me. It belonged to Him. And I was just the caretaker while I was here on earth. I still felt like I needed more information, and as I was doing some volunteer work in the finance office, I had an opportunity to talk to Lynn Adcock, who is our church treasurer. We talked several times, and it helped me to understand more what I had learned in the course that I took from Dave Ramsey. It also gave me an opportunity, since I was volunteering there, to talk with some of the ministers about problems that I had and needed answers to. It was easier to talk to them than it was to hunt up the answers in the Bible, and then they would tell me where I could go and find it. I spent more and more time after I retired in trying to get a Christ-centered life. That involved, of course, going more to church, volunteering, helping others, doing things that helped me to have Christ closer to me on a daily basis. One of the things that I have enjoyed probably the most in my volunteer work is ushering. I usher every other month on Sunday mornings at church, and it gives me an opportunity to greet people when they're coming in, to say hello. Sometimes I say good morning so often that when I do something at night, I forget to say good evening and say good morning again. But anyhow, it gives me an opportunity to welcome people, to give them a smile, to maybe make them feel a little better than they did when they first walked into the door. We have another program in which I volunteer called Second Harvest. This is probably one of the most unique programs that we have. We have permission to go to several of the stores in Roswell and Alpharetta and collect out-of-date bread and produce and take it to North Fulton Community Charities. For those of you who don't know, that's a charity that serves people in need in Roswell and Alpharetta. It also helps because when I start out the door sometimes with a buggy full of produce or a buggy full of bakery products, I get some funny looks from people who are coming in because they know I haven't paid for them because they're not in bags. But I stop and take advantage of that look and tell them that I'm taking it to North Fulton Charities. And we talk about it a little bit. And then most of the time the reply is, "Oh, that's a wonderful program. I'm so glad you're doing that." As I am now retired, I have an opportunity to have more control over my time. And I am a member of a very small covenant group. It's made up of several women, and it's a place where we can present problems. We can help each other solve some problems. We know that it will not go anywhere else. There's no gossip involved. It's just a time and a place where we can share and sometimes have some laughs, sometimes maybe even cry a little bit. One of our members has a granddaughter that she has a hard time accepting, but we've helped her along the way, and things are better now between her and her granddaughter. As I get older, sometimes I wonder what's going to happen with my life, and my covenant group helps me to accept this, that I don't have to know. I just wait and day by day do what I think Christ wants me to do. The programs that I'm involved in at Roswell United Methodist Church have helped me along the way. I feel now that I'm doing what God wants me to do. Sometimes I do things I know God doesn't want me to do, and then I have to get down on my knees and pray and ask that I be forgiven. But I know that I am, provided I don't go out and do it again. At this point in my life, I am a happy, healthy Christian. But I consider myself to be a problem solver. And sometimes I still, even though I try my best to give my problems to God and have Him help me solve them, I'll take one or two of them back because I want to do it my way first. And then if I don't succeed, I give it back to Him and ask Him for help. It's wonderful to know that I will be with Him someday. I'm not ready to go yet, but it will happen. As I give thanks for my blessings, and I have many, and I give thanks every day, I can't help but wonder what's in store for me that Christ has planned for me to do for Him on my 95th year, which will be this September.